is, and I'm a critic, and welcome back. We are here at the last video, the last one for the NFL season of the preview show anyway. And we are talking about the NFC East again at the last part of the segment. Trust me, I do this by the whim. I didn't really plan that far ahead. I guess I got coincidental here. So, the NFC East, formerly known as NFC Least, but for some reason they're still relevant. And, well, the big question is, the Dallas Cowboys, obviously, and everyone else is chopped liver in their own division. But I like to give some acknowledgement to other teams in the division. And the sad thing is, I said in my AFC East video that the Patriots will be the #1 pick. And with the #2 pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, yes, ladies and gentlemen of New York, I'm saying the Giants will probably be the second worst team in the NFL. Probably. I could be completely wrong. Barkley's gone. Daniel Jones, I think there are more yucks than must. And, well, everyone else in the division seems to be better, including Washington. Now, I did have you as if things, because I'm trusting the Giants defense, especially with Burns in there. I think the Giant team was underappreciated last year. There's a chance you guys can get 8 wins. I believe there's a chance. 8 wins still in your future. I believe it. Yes, 8 wins. I see it. But 6 wins could also be the possibility, and that could lead you to potentially the second 2 overall pick. Now, it could be worse. And the big thing we're relying on is Daniel Jones. There's no Barkley to bail you out this time. Neighbors looking like to be a formidable wide receiver, but it could be a case of I'm dealing with a bad quarterback. Sometimes that hinders a good receiver's progress. And week 4 versus Dallas could be a great test. I mean, you're facing Dallas and Philadelphia in week 7, Philadelphia. All those are at home. That can be a nice litmus test to see if you guys are trying to even make a threat in the NFC East, let alone the NFC playoff picture. And then if somehow you guys are in the flux of it, week 13 at Dallas could be the great, cement yourselves. Or it could be like last year when you guys, lost 94-7? Something like that. Where you guys just got shut out 40-0, and then you got blown out to oblivion. And then basically, by week 13, if you guys are that bad, I think some player would have already been traded and coach would have been fired. And that's why you got, 6-11 is what I'm saying is going to be your basement. That's going to be your lowest level. That might be worse. I'm being nice for some reason. But I'm telling the Giants be the #2 pick in the draft. And they'll get Travis Hunter. I keep picking on Travis Hunter because everyone else, but no, Shedeur Sanders. Could the Giants get Shedeur Sanders? Would Dion like that? Because we have to ask that question now. Will Dion like an NFL team drafting his son first overall? Would they like that? Anyway. But yeah, 8-9 if Daniel Jones shows back to promise like he was once, or 6-11 and worse, second overall pick. Your offensive MVP and defense, I'm giving it to the rookie. I think Malik Neighbors is going to carry this Giants team on his back because I feel like the Giants have not had a good go-to receiver in forever. Now, granted, I just read a message that he got permission to wear the #1 jersey. So, initially he was #9, but apparently he got permission to wear #1 based off one of the families that the number was retired for. So he is very prideful, he's very acceptant, and I feel like he's going to make that number fly beautifully in New York. So and then from 1 to 0, Brian Burns. I feel like he got the best of the Carolina deal. He could have been traded to the Rams for 2 first-round picks, and Carolina botched that up. And now he's with the Giants, and I feel like the Giants' defense is nothing to be disrespected by. I think the Giants' defense with Burns is going to be way better. That's probably why I have 6 wins as the low, because I feel like their defense is going to force turnovers, going to harass the other teams. And Burns is finally going to come into his own as one of the best defensive players in the NFC, at least. But even with all that positivity and all that praise, the verdict, top 15 pick, second overall pick. I'm calling it. The Giants will have the second overall pick in the draft, behind the Patriots. So, that means the third place team will go to a team that, surprisingly enough, has more confidence in their quarterback play. And the funny thing is, they only have the preseason to prove it. Now, 7-10 is their ceiling. Yes, I know the Giants had a higher ceiling, but after watching preseason and seeing the confidence and everything, I'm like I said, the Giants could have a worse basement. 7-10, 5-12 for Washington is where I'm feeling them at. If they get to 8 wins or even 9 wins, that's still a stretch. But I feel like a 7-win rookie season for Jaden Daniels, I feel like that's going to be the that's going to be the sweet spot. That's going to be the sweet spot for them. Week 3 at Cincinnati will be a great litmus test to see if they go against one of the top teams in the NFL, especially, LSU versus LSU. Be kind of a nice, side story. Then week 8 versus Chicago. Number 1 versus number 2. We all love those stories. So definitely look forward to seeing that one. And the game is in Washington, so maybe Daniels had the advantage here. Then week 12 versus Dallas. That's going to say, okay, now you're going against, one of the more formidable foes in it. Philadelphia is obviously going to be there, but for some reason, the reason why I picked the Dallas game here in week 12 was there's a chance that your team could be better by this time, and that beating Dallas right now, if anything else, it would just be derailing their playoff hopes. And maybe, just maybe, that is enough for fans to accept this year. And I think that's why I picked this Dallas game. Not the Philadelphia game, because I think Philadelphia is so far ahead of all of us that, quite frankly, if you beat them, it'd be like, hey, good job. You took down the Giant for one day. But taking down Dallas, have a more psychological effect among the fans and also the confidence for them. Plus, Dan Quinn. Your offense and defensive MVPs, I think I made a change here. Yes, I did. Initially, I was going to put Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver, but then I saw the preseason, and I'm going to go with Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels will be your MVP for the offense. Now, I have no idea what I'm thinking from him, but for all I can feel is that if he can make the fans be excited, sorry, I'm retyping my notes here, for the future, I think that will be the plus. If you can somehow make them forget the last quarterback they drafted in the first round with all the praise and whistle that they had for him, I think that would be something that the fans will get behind. I think the Washington football team, the Washington Commanders defense is the one I'm worried about. But that's why I put Bobby Wagner. Dan Quinn and his buddy Bobby is in there. Initially, I was thinking, man, the defensive player, Sweat's gone, and then I saw Bobby Wagner's name, and I'm like, oh, obviously Bobby Wagner. Bobby Wagner has been one of the most consistent linebackers, and he has done it on several teams, not just Seattle. He did it with the Rams so well that Seattle brought him back. And now he's with Washington, and I think he's going to be the captain. He is going to be that center focus for that team. That's why I have Washington and Bobby Wagner as it. With all the praises I gave Washington, you're probably thinking, wow, where do you have their verdict? Top 15 pick, guys. I'm sorry. You traded one of your receivers to Philadelphia. What is up with teams in the NFC East trading players to Philadelphia in their own division? Some kind of a masochism type of thing I don't hear about? So, top 15 pick, guys. Top 15. Maybe 15th pick is where I can probably see you guys. Dallas and Philadelphia are too far ahead of you. Even the much criticism I gave about Dallas, they're too far ahead of you guys to compete. So I'm sorry. But like I said, if you get the fans something I'm proud of, something to be excited for next year, oh, the possibilities could be great this upcoming year. Not to mention, there's a lot of great players that could want to team up with Daniels again. Teammates of teammates, kind of like what Chase and Burrow did. Maybe did with Daniels. Who knows? But top 15, sorry, Washington. Now we go to the last two teams. And, well, I don't want to be that guy, but dude, You just signed CeeDee Lamb. There's too much unnecessary noise around the camp, and just the sad inconsistencies of Dallas in general the past few seasons with McCarthy and Prescott and company, that I feel like eventually this team is going to be too expensive to keep, that you're going to strip it because you need to make salary, to the point you find out that the most expensive players can't do it alone. And then you're going to find out you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit. Week 3 versus Baltimore. Big test very early on in the season. Now, granted, Baltimore has very early tests themselves. So the question would be, is Baltimore going to come in very pissed off, or they're going to come in very confident? Because I doubt they're going to come in, bitching and moaning. So that's how I feel. Then you have, in the midway through the season, San Francisco. The same San Francisco team that put 42 on your faces. And then week 11 versus Houston, for the find out who actually is the captain of Texas. And if you were to lose those 3 games, I think it just proves that even if you guys were to make the playoffs, one and done, get out. And that might be more than just the season. That might be coaches and players. Get out. Dallas is too good, in my opinion, not to be at least 10 wins or more. I feel that. If they win less than 10 games, something happened. Like devastating injuries, or McCarthy had like a stroke and a monkey was taking over the play call. Like something drastic has to happen. If Dallas, that's why their lowest point is 10 wins. This team is making the playoffs. The question will be whether they're going to be division champs, 5th seed, or even 7th seed. Dallas is a team I feel like can make the playoffs. The question is how, where they will be. And the question is, of course, what they'll do in the playoffs. Dallas might be one of the few teams that everyone can feel confident say they're one and done regardless of where they go. They can be the number 1 seeded team, get the bye. And so they come back from the bye, gone. And I can't help but feel I agree with that too. And Dallas has to prove something. Dude, I felt the same with Cleveland years ago. The joke of them being the worst team has to stop, and they got better. Detroit being the worst team, they got better. Dallas has to stop being the good team in the regular season and then losing one time in the playoffs. Seriously, I am honestly okay to see people like Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless go nuts so on both sides of the spectrum if Dallas wins the Super Bowl this year. Like, seriously, I'm done. Yes, Dallas won the Super Bowl. Finally, can we stop this? Now, granted, I'm asking for the worst, and who knows, I might just cause a curse upon us. But let me ask you, those fans out there, those that don't like Dallas and definitely hate the Chiefs now. If it was Chiefs versus Cowboys in the Super Bowl, who do you pick? I would take the Cowboys on this one. Get like a nostalgia celebration versus the modern day celebration. I would prefer. Your offense and defense MVP goes to CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons. Obviously. Now, I can see arguing for Dak Prescott because he was a Heisman Trophy. We're not that far back. He was MVP candidate. But CeeDee Lamb did so much by himself. If you just look at the stats compared to where he was stat-wise and the next best receiver in the league, it's such a massive gap that you'll think that there was a typo and somehow they forgot to add players in between that amount of yardage gap. No way that someone had like this amount of yard, have like hundreds and hundreds of yards apart and receptions compared to the other player, who is also a receiver. So CeeDee Lamb, to me, clearly one of the best number 1 receivers in the league, and rightfully so. And Micah Parsons, until you tell me otherwise, he is the best defensive player. And the worst part about it is, time is recording, Blaine, the corner sensation, is out for weeks with an injury. Dallas, seriously, all in on what, Jerry? All in on what? But verdict, playoffs. Like I said, you're going to the playoffs. The question is how and where. That's it. Do you make it as a wild card? Do you make it as a division? Do you make what? Do I see in the conference championship? Not even close. Division will be the best I'll give you, but I won't be surprised. But I'm more comfortable saying one and done. Dallas, that is your fate, and that means the number one team in the NFC East. Yes, the team that choked and Kelsey retired, who is making commercials now. Good for the guy. Love that. But the amount of players Philadelphia has, I cannot not say they are the best team in the NFC on paper and maybe the entire NFL. The amount of Georgia defensive player they've recruited, Barkley, the signing players, the receiving core, all that. If they do the same thing they did last year, then I'm going to say it's a curse. There is literally a black cat and a voodoo doll somewhere in that field. Find it. Philadelphia should be the best team. And I did say before that 13 wins might be the best. But I said no. 14-3 is the ceiling for Philadelphia. Yes. And even in the lowest, 11-6. But I still have them winning the division. Sorry. I tell Philadelphia's going to win the division. The question is, are they going to win the division and be like the number one seed and get the first round bye? Because I think San Francisco might be struggling. Or they're going to be the, division winners and get the fourth seed. I don't know. It could be a lot of things. It could be a lot of different things. But week 1 versus Green Bay, two team that would be more interesting if they played later. But week 10 at Dallas and week 17 versus Dallas at the end of the season. There you go. Those are the two games that matter most for the Philadelphia Eagles, because right now it's about winning the division and getting that home playoff game. It doesn't matter where you're placed right now. Win that division, you're guaranteed at least a home game. And as formidable as you are, you should feel confident with the players you got from all the trades and even insider trading with your own division. You guys should be heavily confident that this should be the day that Philadelphia gets back to the Super Bowl. And I've been saying it all the time, but I think Philadelphia and Cincinnati is the Super Bowl. I want Detroit and Cincinnati. I do. But I'm saying Philadelphia and Cincinnati in the Super Bowl. I could be completely wrong. But it's a feeling. And feelings is just like gas. Sometimes they pass, and most times they stink. So your offensive and defensive MVP goes to Jalen Hurts and C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Good thing the guy doesn't have find a normal picture of him when he did play for Philadelphia before. But then he left. And he came back and has a new number now. So I got to give him the new picture with him, the new number. And the only picture I could find was him in his practice uniform. So forgive me. But C.J. Gardner-Johnson is one of those players that reminds me of Ted Ginn's career. Ted Ginn was a player, first round pick out of Miami. For those who know, he's a wide receiver out of Ohio State. Pardon me, I got that correctly. But he never really had the season success that everyone else had. But every team he went to, he made a contributing factor, and he was a big factor why the team was successful. Gardner-Johnson's that type of player. He's going to Philadelphia, a team that he went to the Super Bowl with. I think he did with them before against Kansas City. I think he did. And now he's back again. And I think he has such a command premise that he has this maturity and he has this tenacity that I feel like he is going to be the reason why. He's the Michael Jenkins of your team before that he was when Malcolm Jenkins was when he was with the Eagles back in the day and he was with the Saints. He is that type of player. That's why he is my MVP for your defense. Verdict: Super Bowl. Philadelphia in the Super Bowl, whether it's to prevent the Chiefs from winning a three-peat or them getting there to get their second ring against a team like the Ravens or a team like the Bengals or whoever. That's going to be. It's Philadelphia Super Bowl. If they don't make it to the Super Bowl, something devastatingly has happened in the zeitgeist of the universe, or the football gods just hate Philadelphia. But yeah, Philadelphia Super Bowl. And that's that. That's the entire season. That's how it all comes down. Those are the division by divisions. During the week, I will do my prediction for the weekend, and I'll probably do some videos here and there. As for those of you that are probably wondering about my draft videos, majority of them are already done. I'm just posting them in a very day-by-day basis so they can spread them out a little bit. But they will come out. And for those of you that have been watching, those of you that are subscribing, thank you, and I'm glad you're enjoying me on this journey. My name is Cortez, and I'm a critic. And thank you very much for watching all these videos, and thank you for subscribing. and more to come. See ya.